I grí cahar Fort Lorige, Shasan an tonad starúl, Amharclann na Ríge. Site mroch na siúra, tá sé mar lár onad cultúra na háite le glúna anús.
The Theatre Royal is synonymous with Waterford and it's referred very much to as the People's Theatre.
Nar hagan tú stacan sa, tigan tú go bhfuil an áitan sa ann le blianta fada, tá star a baint leis.
It's generational. It has that real legacy. There's a real sense of ownership that the people of Waterford have over this building.
There's probably not a person in Waterford that doesn't have a connection, whether it's a family member or a friend that has been on that stage.
Tá sé fearhabhachtach de Amharclann a bheith sa I Bort Láirge. Go mór Amharclann leis an clú agus an cáil agus an tradiisiún a thug an Theatre Royal. Nuair smaoinn tú ní féidir leat tradiisiún ná star a agrú ná Canuck. Tugann sé le ís, agus nó éigean tar na fálaí mór haimplan sa, tá ís an ada ag an Amharclann sa.
The Theatre Royal, as of 2020, is 235 years old. For many, many reasons, the Theatre Royal has pockets of different legacies, and so it's deeply, deeply rooted in Waterford in terms of its cultural heritage. It has provided entertainment to the people of Waterford for a very, very, very long time. You might be sitting down in front of, a bank manager looking for a mortgage, and the bank manager asks you where you work and you say Theatre Royal, and he will then say, I performed on that stage. And so every walk of life has threaded those boards. We have seen every age group, every background looking towards this building as a source of entertainment. And we know that people want to have a reason to walk through its doors.
There's a real sense of ownership of the Theatre Royal by Waterford people. And as I said, that goes back to it being here so long. There's two main sides to my job. One is the management of the facilities, making sure the building is running as it should do. The other side of it then is looking after the shows that kind of come into the building themselves. It's facilitating the acts that come in the door. You become a sound engineer and you become a lighting designer, and now on top of all that we'll also become a cameraman. Almost everything we'll be doing from here will probably be an element of live streaming to it. Whatever discipline you can think of, the Theatre Royal will facilitate. I mean, everyone from Buffalo Bill, Oscar Wilde, Lloyd Webber, they've all actually been on that stage at some point.
Tugann Waterford Láirge an takeíoch de gach ile tá spáintas a hagan an sa. Tá drú ceangailt idir an cultúr agus an Theatre Royal an sa I Bort Láirge. Nar hagdisteach an príomhdoras an sa, stríonn tú an gná saoil go dtí an Amharclann sa. Tá mothú speisialte I buint leis an Theatre Royal. Is féidir leat an tradiisiún a bhulla an sa. Tá bulla cinnte ag tradiisiún na háite. Ní féidir mé a bhí nua, caithfidh tú teacht an sa chun an atmosfér a há in Amharclann mar seo a nua.
I first appeared on this stage when I was 14. We've been playing around the country, playing different music festivals and recording over the last 5 or 6 years. The music scene is growing. A younger generation of musicians who have kind of come of age to 18, 19 to be able to play in pubs. It's beginning to thrive, and there's a lot of really great bands in this town. Theatre Royal is an essential venue for us to have. If you look at the programme and look at all of the acts that come through here, after years of playing around, playing all the small pubs, playing all the festivals, playing around the country, it was great to come, with the lads and play here in this amazing venue. Especially the hometown gig, we've always gotten good support here from Waterford people. 'tis an old building and it's a part of our town.
Kind of an céadú bhí mé an so. An céadú bhí mé an státe. Bhí buinte gom le comórtas mór an so an taps the town, agus bhí drú buinte gom leis an comórtas sin. Bhúmar craobh den comórtas an so Port Lorga, scumar aigadí an ard craobh Mallia Cleas the Gatey. Thug an taps the town chance don gnálach fécanta, tacht an státe an taobh siodas na Cortini. Nuair a tháinig mé isteach an socham Ragnóna, don céadú le tamil, before an galarú fása go hágaí. Thosna mí smaoine bhar na daoine gur bheithna gomsa an so, ar bhí mé gobar an so. Bhí mé gobar leis an banistóir stáit an so, Larry Quinn. Agus is fedum Larry iscin de gára ar an drama bhíar an stáite. Smaoine mé ar na drama fuair bás le déanaí, Des Manahan, fiúháin, agus smaoine mé ar an drama seo go léir. Is tócha is ní éigean tá taobh sí an drama seo go léir an sas an Amharclann.
I know that when I was 5, I stood on that stage as part of a school Féil in a Skull performance. I worked here as a stage manager on a show called Happy Birthday Dear Alice, which was a Red Kettle play back in 1995. Really, the theatre was falling down in those days, it really was. I have memories of almost spending nights in here during that time and lived and breathed the building. As a child, I was brought in to see my father perform on stage. I would have been about 5 at the time, and that's certainly my earliest memory, and I remember it vividly. I remember sitting down here, and I remember watching my father up there. That whole kind of cultural background and memory is huge.
From my earliest memory, the Theatre Royal has been very much a part of my life and my family life. So I grew up here. My father worked here for 25 years as a stage manager. So my first encounter with the theatre was falling out of a lighting box at 4 years old onto the stage in the middle of a panto. I remember in my bedroom wall at one point, although it was painted over, I could see Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs through the painting, and it came off a set that my father had brought home. When I started here about 5 years ago, it was a little bit like coming home. I just remember being here, coming down, and actually a lot of my family would have worked here in some capacity, you know, whether it was taking tickets, front of house, box office, you know, whatever over the years, over those times. I only found my way kind of back here about 5-10 years ago. It still feels like home.
You kind of have to be on your top game, and you have to be well prepared for it in here. It's pressure when you have a big venue like the Theatre Royal. You want to know, is there going to be people there? Will we fill it? Will we be able to do it? You know, and will we be able to put on the show to fill that stage? When people are paying to come to a theatre and see a performance, they're going to expect something that's just that little bit better. It's not the same as playing in a pub or a club because people are attentive. It feels closer to a theatre performance because it is in a theatre where people are watching, observing your every move.
Ó bunaíoch an Amharclann breis is 200 bhliain ó shin. Bhí a dúchláin is mó rumpí fós. I míbharta sa bhliain fethe chric pandéim COVID-19 cathair Fort Lorga. Agus do réir rialacha an dín ghlasáil, bhí ar Amharclann na Níne a dtíirse a gúna go brach.
Like everybody, when the initial shock came on the 13th of March 2020, that's essentially what it was. It was shock, deep shock, in fact. Once we realised back in March, and particularly as we moved into April last year, and we realised that we had to cancel all of the events, it was working through that shock initially, and then the stress of maintaining positivity amongst the team. Unfortunately, when the situation occurred last year, we had to lay off our team entirely, and that was devastating for the organisation. To operate this building without a team, it's not possible. They are constantly working away in the background.
Nuair a thosnaigh an galar ú fásadh seán COVID-19, chuir sé stop le gacra. Stop gach gnéad an Amharclann an sa I Bartláirice, gach gnéad an Theatr Royal. Agus ní amháin dus an himachtaí bhéir an stáitse seo. Rih gach taispántais nó gach túnslaim an seo, bín clacht an seo gach ile lá, bín technóirí gobar an seo, bín aglaibh an radio átúil rih an rud, bín léirmheas ar nordíonn na fápéir. Chuir sé stop le gach ile gnéad an Amharclann. Nuair thug tú stac an sa inniuh, tá sé ciún an sa.
You know, we were supposed to play in here. That was cancelled. The venues are closed, the pubs are closed, where people go for culture and art is in the theatres and in the clubs and pubs. It was a summer of proposed album tour and festival slots and things like that just gone. So it's kind of kicked it another year down the road. It's kind of hard to get everybody motivated when you're not in the room, there's no gig to work towards. It's not the same when you're not playing and gigging.
It was devastating news. I think it means an awful lot to people without them probably thinking about it, you know. It's only when it gets taken away that you kind of go, oh my God, you know, the Theatr Royal is shut down.
Inniu tá spirid na Amharclanne ó Marachtáil trí bhean na sruthanna bio.
The Theatr Royal is a building that is loved, I suppose. It's got an enormous legacy in Waterford. And so people still wanted to use it. So artists still wanted to use it. And audiences still wanted reasons to go to the Theatr Royal. What the pandemic has allowed us to do, it's one of the positives out of all of this. It has allowed us to look closer to home. We created an opportunity for artists to come in and record work in here that we could then disseminate out to audiences, thus continuing to engage with audiences. Once we were in receipt of the Arts Council's Capacity Building Fund, we were able to purchase our own equipment. So we did so, and we have purchased cameras and necessary equipment for either live streaming or recording. We lead with the audience forefront in our mind, alongside the artist forefront in our mind, and how can we marry both, and how can we continue to provide opportunities for artists and at the same time reasons for audiences to walk in here. We've created during that time some extraordinary filming opportunities for performers who would never have done that kind of thing, have never performed to empty houses and cameras in the past. It was a challenge for them, an enormous challenge for them, but equally a challenge for our team inside the theatre because it was all very, very new. And we can now see the potential around that kind of work going forward. And so I see this building working hand in hand with all of those who are creating work locally, which is a very positive move forward.
It's not the real thing, you know, you could give us a live audience any day of the week, but it's the next best thing that we can do at the moment. We found just before the pandemic, the year before had been one of our busiest years ever. So, I mean, it's a really positive sign of actually people wanting to get out and go to see live music and live theatre. It will come back and it'll be stronger than ever probably, because I think people realise just what they've missed. You know, when you take something away is when you really notice that actually that was something we used to love doing. You take it for granted. We just can't wait to see him back.
Cégur cuir an galar seo ó fásadh seo stop leis an rud. Beidh todhchaí an sever ag an Amharclann an Sochaí Bartláirice. Beidh five ag an Coiste Banistíochta. Beidh ticédaí, galóir ticédaí áil chun iad a díal, mar beidh fáin ar gach uile duine teacht ar ais chuig an Amharclann an sa.
I think live theatre, there is nothing quite like it. Theatre is about being here. It's an immersive experience. It's about an audience, and the audience sharing that space with the performers, and you just can't beat it. And until that day comes, we'll just keep doing what we can to keep the theatre ready for it.
Trí dorchadas na pandéime, daimsigh Amharclann na Ríge cúis chun a cartaíní a Harington Airde a ríis.
No, écim sheer and ish own tave shudda. Fin to the sea corner bun, the scene on the gaclar agus the kind a ha who's an Aaron son. Sweeney mer and drum a v Aaron stoche. It's kind of a rod a dorklim clansilum agus dorshum henny merle a. You're on stage on a side sheer shoe, the lights are in your eyes, and you realise this cannot go on forever. Chukik derelish. Tige minish cadvi a rog a hain. You're a huge mocker socha, mar on theatre eye.
What it's been called for years is the People's Theatre. And whether you like that title or not is irrelevant. The fact is, it's true. It is the People's Theatre. It's not mine. It's not that team of 9 people who are currently working. It's not ours. It belongs to literally everybody.